There's something very interesting happening in America. The American Congress has hit a new all-time low approval rating. Depending on which poll one looks at, Congress approval rating is only between 6 to 9%. This means 91 to 94% of Americans disapprove of the job Congress is doing. Because of career politicians in two parties which are controlled by the most wealthy donors and powerful career politicians, hardly anything happens in Congress. Both parties are guilty of not wanting to work together for the good of the country. There have been laws and programs voted on by members of both parties, but the votes are in direct opposition to the majority of the members' constituents. The majority of members in both parties wind up voting on how the chairperson of the party tells them to vote, with no concern whether it is best for the country and the people, but only what is best for the party. Jim Webb, in his speech on October 20th, 2015, when he dropped out of the Democrat presidential race, even referred to the hierarchy of the party not liking his views and policies as part of the reason he withdrew from the race. The Founding Fathers did not want a government ruled by a hierarchy of wealthy donors and powerful career politicians, but ruled by the people. Our Founding Fathers set up a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. They never intended to have a group of career politicians run the country. If they had, it would have been of the politicians, by the politicians, and for the politicians. When the Declaration of Independence was drafted, there really was not any organized political parties. Everyone who was sent to represent each state and was each an individual vote. Some states actually had their votes split by their different representatives, but by working together, the Declaration was passed. The reason the Founding Fathers wanted a type of opposition in the government is for checks and balances. These types of different views ensure the government would always work together to do what is best for the country, and laws would be passed on their merit instead of by a hierarchy, dictation, or background room deals for votes. Now, the hierarchy of both parties have corrupted and prostituted this idea to the point the hierarchies rule with an iron fist and tell their members what to do. The strange thing is how, with a disapproval rating between 91 to 94%, the majority of the incumbents who are the cause of the disapproval rating constantly get voted back into office. Each time an incumbent wins in either the primary or general elections, it sends a clear message. The voters approve and endorse the job Congress is doing. It is a well-known fact. The majority of Democrats will only vote for a Democrat, and the majority of Republicans will only vote for a Republican in a general election. The 2016 election is most likely one of the most important elections which has ever happened in the history of the United States. I am not talking about the general election in November, but of the primary elections held in each state. In most of these elections, Democrats can only vote for Democrats, and Republicans can only vote for Republicans. In elections past, the majority of Republican and Democrat voters who vote at primaries would always vote for an incumbent in their party who was seeking to run for election. This means the voters are voting to re-elect a person who is contributing to the problems in Congress and their high disapproval rating. Statistics show two very interesting facts about primary elections. One, the majority of voters who vote in a primary election will always vote for an incumbent. Two, when a person does not vote in a primary election, it is in essence a vote for the incumbent. Remember, when an incumbent wins an election, even a primary election, it is a clear and precise message of approval and endorsement to the Congress that the voters want Congress to keep doing exactly what they are doing. By not voting in your state primary, you are sending the message of your approval and endorsement of the job they are doing. In the 2014 election, there were 4 congressional districts which set a wonderful example for America to follow and said they had had enough of such a dysfunctional Congress. These 4 districts, 3 Republican and 1 Democrat, sent the clear message to Congress they did not approve the job Congress was doing. How did they send such a clear message? The voters got out and voted in the primary and voted the incumbent out. The incumbent was not able to run for a re-election in the general election in November. The only problem with only these 4 districts not voting for their incumbent, it means less than 1% of the 435 representatives constituents who actually sent the clear message they disapprove of the job Congress is doing. This means over 99% of Americans sent the clear message about how much they approve, endorse, and how happy they were with the job Congress is doing. If you are one of the 91 to 96% of voters who does not approve of the job Congress is doing, then let your voice be heard loud and clear. You have the ability to send a loud and clear message to Congress about your disapproval. Get out and vote in your state's primary. This is for all voters, Democrat and Republican. If the incumbent is from your party and has been in Congress for more than 7 years, they are part of the problem with Congress. They are not part of the solution. If a politician cannot change the way Congress has been not working in 7 years of being in office, they have become part of the problem. Why 7 years? This gives a representative 4 terms and a senator 2 terms to get Congress to work together for the good of the country instead of just what their party wants. If the majority of the incumbent congressional representatives and senators are not able to run in the general election in November, then Americans will send Washington a clear message for them to start working together for the good of the country instead of only the good of their party. Every voter should do this, not only in the 2016 election, but every election from now on. It's like the old joke. What do politicians and diapers have in common? They both need to be changed often. So please join the Americans who are uniting and voting during the 2016 primary and send a strong and clear message to Washington. Excuse me. Please share this video with all your friends and encourage them to share this message. Everyone has my permission to distribute and use this video. All news networks have my permission to use this video. Now, on a personal request. If you donate to a political party or a candidate of your choice, please consider donating a percentage of what you are going to donate to a charity for veterans. There are 2 types of charities for veterans to choose from. Ones who help living veterans and ones who show respect and appreciation for veterans who are no longer living but are just as responsible for our freedoms. Let me suggest 2 from each type. First is for veterans who are still living. Wounded Warriors. They help veterans recover from their injuries suffered, helping all of us keep our freedom in the way of life. They are building a rehab center in Mammoth, California and need your support. 2, the Independence Fund. They help wounded veterans maintain their independence. They help provide track chairs for veterans who lost use of their legs, and these chairs can go where normal wheelchairs can't. Second is for veterans who are no longer alive. Wreaths Across America. Every December, they lay wreaths on graves of veterans at veterans and national cemeteries across the nation. 2, Liberty Bell Funeral Honor Guard. This is a new charity trying to raise money to purchase full-size replica Liberty Bells to toll out the sacrifice of military, law enforcement, and firefighters throughout the United States. Their long-term goal is to purchase enough full-size Liberty Bell replicas to have one stationed close to every veterans and national cemeteries in the country. To reach their long-term goal, they will be very costly and they need everyone's support. Please visit their website at Liberty Bell Funeral Honor Guard, one word, all run together, at .org, or Facebook page Liberty Bell Funeral Honor Guard to view videos of their vision and goals. Thank you for your time and decision to vote in your state's primary election.